guest is releasing his debut military thriller novel, and he knows his stuff, well, that's because he's a Navy SEAL. Chameleon, a black box thriller, tells a story of an elite CIA team working to stop a global hostage ring. That's some light reading for you. It's written by Remi Adeleke, a veteran actor and producer who's consulted on military films and television. He's worked alongside, Michael Bay, was most recently in his 2022 film Ambulance, and he was most recently featured in the Michael Bay film Ambulance. You might have also seen him in the reality series Special Forces, World's Toughest Test. Remi joins us live this morning. Hello and welcome to New York Living.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on.
It's great to talk to you. So tell the folks where you grew up.
I grew up in the Bronx on Fordham and Sedgwick.
Fordham and Sedgwick. Where'd you go to high school?
DeWitt Clinton.
DeWitt Clinton. I love it. I love it. So your first book, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I secretly wanted to be on that military show. I'm a mere mortal, but I watched the trailer and I was like, I'd love to do that.
Well, you're about to get some of it.
I know. I'm going to work out here because you're going to put me through the paces. But I wanted to start from the beginning, if we could, because you have such an interesting story.
Thank you.
What led you to enlist in the Navy?
You know, I was getting in trouble in the Bronx, doing a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to be doing, and it was one of those decisions: either end up dead or end up in prison or join the military. And so I decided, you know what, maybe the military can get me out of my trouble.
Maybe, and did it?
It did. It definitely did. I learned a lot about discipline. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about who I could be.
Right.
Which was great.
Right. What is happening here in this photo that we're looking at?
So in this photo, I'm on a deployment with my SEAL team.
Wow.
That's actually Congressman Crane, who serves on U.S. Congress. So
no way! Look at you.
Yeah, so we served together, and we were doing direct action missions.
What's a direct action mission?
Snatch and grab, catching bad guys, HVTs, high value targets.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Now listen, people, we can say this because we're from the Bronx. People say the mean streets of the Bronx are real.
Oh, yeah.
But being a Navy SEAL is real also.
But you know what, it is, but I will say that the Bronx prepared me for the SEAL team. I wouldn't even have made it through SEAL training if the Bronx didn't put me through my paces.
If it wasn't for the Bronx, we need to change that rap lyric.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for the Bronx, I wouldn't have become a Navy SEAL.
Exactly.
Okay, so you have a very busy life, a very full life.
Yes, ma'am.
You had time to write a book.
Yeah.
You just published it. The protagonist is inspired in part by your life. This is fiction, yes?
Yeah, I say it's a fictional extension of my life. I was a human intelligence collector in the SEAL teams, and so he's not in the SEAL teams, but he's a CIA agent. Okay. He grew up in Nigeria, he was born in Nigeria, like I was born in Nigeria. Grew up in New York City, just like I grew up in New York City. And his name is actually Khalif Browder Kent. I intentionally gave him that name because we all know what happened to Khalif Browder, and I wanted to find a way to pay homage to him. So, so his name is inspired by Khalif, but his story is inspired by mine as well.
Yeah, it is. It gave me chills when I was reading the notes about that, because it's. I think it's far too easy for communities to forget about tragedies that turn into social movements, right? He sort of was one of the poster children for social justice.
Yeah.
How does social justice figure into everything you touch and all the things that you do?
It's a big part of what I do, especially because, you know, I came from the city. I saw a lot of bad things happen, and I think that it's my responsibility, especially with the platform, as not just as a former SEAL, but as a filmmaker, as a producer, to use it to give back and try and create unity and create healing and, you know, move us forward instead of move us back. So that's part of everything that I do.
Remind folks the name of your book.
The name of my book is Chameleon, a black box thriller, and it is out now.
Will it become a screenplay? Will we see it on the big screen, the small screen? Has Netflix called yet?
Well, interestingly, it started out as a movie. It got picked up by a major production company. I went through a year rewrites, and somebody read the screenplay and said this needs to be a book. So it's going to be a film. Transform, which is my memoir, already got picked up to be a film with a major studio. So after the writer's strike and actor's strike, we should be able to move forward and go into production on that.
My goodness, you lead a very full life, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You were in Mott Haven last night over at the Lit Bar.
Yeah.
What was it like going back to the old stomping grounds?
Oh, it was so amazing. Shout out to Noel and the Lit Bar for hosting the launch event for Chameleon. It was just such a blessing to be back in the area where I did some crazy things, but now instead of selling some things I shouldn't have been selling, now I'm selling books, and my family came out, and some people, even people came from other parts of this country to come support the event. So it was such a blessing. And Dwight Howard NBA legend, hosted
not
it.
the Dwight
The
Howard?
Dwight Howard moderated it because he was on the show Special Forces Fox. So instead of me questioning him like I did on the show, he was questioning me.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So with such a full life, what do you do in your downtime? Do you have any downtime?
You know, I have a family, so I have 4 kids.
So you're busy. Okay,
So-
you just answered the question for me.
Yeah, that's my time is gone there. But I love my kids. I have a 9-year-old, 8-year-old, 4-year-old, and 2.5-year-old.
Oh, you're busy.
Yeah, so
You're. I only have 2, but hearing the ages of your 4, you're
a
outnumbered.
lot. Very outnumbered. Very outnumbered. Yeah.
So we love a good workout
yeah.
on this broadcast, and I wonder if you could put me through the paces,
Absolutely.
if at all possible.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to put down my script.
All
What
right.
is this Navy SEAL training? Am I going to be able to?
Well, let's start off light.
All right,
and then
fine.
we'll build a little bit hard. So let's start off with some push-ups. Are you
I can
okay
do a
with
push-up.
push-ups?
I can do push-ups.
How
Okay.
many you want to do? You want me to come up with the number? Or you
You
want to
come up with the number.
Okay, I'll come up with the number. All right.
All right.
So let's go. I won't tell you anybody the number just yet. So on me, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
See, you make it look easy.
Down, up. Now you're making it look easy. Up. What number we on?
Shut
Down. Up. What number we on? What number we on?
10, 100.
Oh, we want to count. We got to start all over for 0. All right.
the
Down.
worst.
All right. Let's jump on our feet.
Do
Let's
you
jump
do
on our feet.
push-ups every day? Do you still work out? You look like you work out every day.
Yeah, I work out. I do push-ups maybe twice a week. I have different regiments and circuit training.
How many push-ups do you think you did when you were a Navy SEAL? You lost count. You lost count.
I definitely lost count.
Okay.
But we could jump into some squats to
Let's
kind of
do it.
mix it up,
Let's
mix
do
up the
it.
muscle.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Down, up, down.
Is it really as ridiculous as they say it is, as it's portrayed in the movies?
Oh, it's
Thank you,
horrible.
Bobby. Bobby, our photographer is even getting.
The class that I graduated with started out with 270 men, and
Yeah.
only 29 of us graduated.
No.
The attrition rate is typically 80 to 90%.
And is there really a bell where if you're gonna quit, you gotta go and ring the bell?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh.
And I saw a lot of people quit, and less than 1% of Navy SEALs are African American. So I think I was around the 50th in the history of the
Give it
SEAL
up.
team.
Give it up right here.
Thank you.
All right, enough squats. What
All
else?
right. So now we did some push-ups and we did some squats. So now we're going to combine
Oh,
them
good for us.
into what's called 8-count bodybuilders. It's a great workout if you want to get something in that works almost every muscle in your body. And
if it's a
so-
little snack,
Yeah,
a little
so-
workout snack.
So we go to our positions of what counts. So 1,
1,
2, kick our feet out.
2,
3,
3. Oh, stay here.
4,
4.
5,
Oh, snap.
6,
Huh?
7, 8.
Okay.
8-count bodybuilders.
I got it. Ready?
How many you want to do?
You and these numbers.
Let's
Let's try it in real time.
Okay.
Ready? Go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, I got like 1.5
2,
left of
3,
me.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. You crushed it.
Well,
I think you're ready for Special Forces Fox next
you
season.
know what? I really did want to work for the CIA when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So maybe there's hope for me.
There is hope for you. Well, of course.
I'm definitely not ready to be a Navy SEAL. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations on everything you're doing.
Thank you.
And making all of us so proud.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Chameleon, a black box thriller, is out now. You can find it wherever you get your books. Hazel, I'm out of breath, chica. What you up to over there?
Listen, I'm exhausted just watching you.